Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from the beginning of Guidance, Bidayat al-Hidayah, by Imam Al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, wa nafa'ana bi'ulum fid darain, ameen. And we have reached the etiquette of the ritual bath for the removal of major ritual impurity, adab al-ghusli min al-janaba. During the last session, we read about the ablution, the etiquette of ablution. And now we talk about, or we read, Imam Ghazali's discussion of this ritual bath. If you have entered the state of ritual impurity by having a wet dream or sexual intercourse, carry the basin of water to the wash place. And this is now the next step is like the with ablution, with wudu. Wash your hands. Before washing anything, wash your hands 3 times. Then Imam Ghazali says, then remove any impurities from your body. Okay. Obviously, in this case, since it's about ritual purity, and we talk about either a wet dream or after sexual intercourse, then we talk about semen. And in itself is not impure. In itself is not impure. But one needs to remove it, one needs to clean it. And it's the act or simply the wet dream that necessitates the ritual bath, the ghusl. Perform the regular ablution. So washing the hands 3 times, removing any solid impurities that are stuck to your body. Perform the regular ablution for the prayer as described above, meaning the way we have read it during the last session. And then he said, with all supplications and prayers, postponing only the washing of the feet so as not to waste water. There are those who scholars who say wash the feet too. Now pour water over the right side of your body 3 times, making the intention of lifting the state of impurity. Then pour the water over the left side of your body 3 times. Then pour it over your head 3 times. Rub the front and back of your body. Use your fingers to make the water penetrate the hair of your head. Make sure the water gets into folds of the body, as well as the roots of the hair, both thin and thick. Remember, I would like you to remember the hair, both thin and thick, like the beard, because when we talk about tayammum, it's going to be the opposite. There is no need to reach with dust to the roots of the hair. Avoid touching your male organ after the ablution. If your hand comes in contact with it, repeat the ablution. Now this is we have maybe 3 positions vis-a-vis this issue. Touching the male organ, also the same thing for women. Touching the private parts without anything separating like for example wearing underwear or something So it's the that kind of touching. Imam Ghazali says, repeat your wudu. Okay, after you are done, he says, repeat your wudu. Why he did not say repeat your ghusl, your ritual ablution? Because at least momentarily you have been pure, and now if you nullify you don't nullify your ghusl, you nullify your wudu only. And that's really for within the Shafi'i school, pretty much this is the case. For the Ahnaf, absolutely, it does not nullify the the wudu. For the Maliki school, it's an in-between position whereby it all depends on whether it was uh, touch that is related to lust, one way or the other. So if it's really a casually one, let's say that you are drying yourself after you took the shower and accidentally you touch. That's not really what the accidentally. That's not what the Maliki school would say. It nullifies your wudu. And in as much as this is valid for men, it's valid for women. We have two prophetic traditions. One that's really states very clearly that if one touches the his private parts, then one needs to uh, renew the wudu. But we have also another hadith. The hadith in itself, at face value, it might be understood that touching does not necessarily nullify your wudu. إنما هو بضعة منك. Your male organ or your private parts, anyhow, men and women, that is part of you. إنما هو بضعة منك. Which would indicate that there is no need to, that's not obligatory to perform the wudu. And some scholars spoke about the ha'il, the barrier, separated by a towel, separated by underwear, whatever. That's a different. That's how they reconciled both traditions while there are appears to be contradictory statements. And there are those who would say that this does not really include women at all. So Imam Ghazali says, if your hand comes in contact with it, repeat the ablution. In all of this, the things that are obligatory are the intention, as in all cases. In all of this, the things that are obligatory are the intention. Number two, removing impurity. Number three, encompassing the whole body while washing, covering every part of your body. The obligatory parts of the ablution are washing the face, washing the arms, including the elbows, wiping part of the head, and washing the feet, including the ankles. Each of these actions to be carried out one time with intention and in the proper order. So the once is obligatory. More than once, it becomes a sunnah, as we say. The rest of the actions in the ablution and ritual bath are confirmed sunnahs. Their benefits many, and their reward great. Whoever dismisses them loses out. In fact, he puts his obligatory acts at risk, for the voluntary acts make up for deficiencies in the obligatory. The etiquette of the dry ablution. Of course, do not forget that uh, in fact, one needs to mention uh, a verse in the Quran that connects both the ritual bath and the etiquette of the dry ablution, the tayammum. وإن كنتم مرضى أو على سفر أو جاء أحد منكم من الغائط أو لامستم النساء فلم تجدوا ماء فتيمموا صعيدا طيبا فامسحوا بوجوهكم وأيديكم. So the beginning of the verse يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقولون ولا جنبا إلا عابري سبيل حتى تغتسلوا. So in the case of being junub, there is a prohibition of, this is an early stage in the prohibition of drinking alcohol, and one should not pray until if one is in a state of janaba, in a state of ritual impurity, except if one is traveling, meaning that there is no access to enough water to perform the full ritual bath. And if you are sick, don't be stubborn. You have rukhsa, you have the permission to not really, if you are sick in a way that the ritual ablution would certainly cause irreversible damage to your health, then don't. There's a case of a Sahabi who was wounded, and the Prophet ﷺ, his companions insisted that he would do the ritual bath, and the Prophet ﷺ did not approve that. The dry ablution begins with not having access to water, or, as Imam Al-Ghazali explains, if you are unable to find any water after looking for it, or some obstacle, he says, prevents you from reaching it, like imprisonment or a wild animal. There are wild animals that are not, they would not be able to prevent you really. Here, sab'a, a lion, sab'a, a tiger, sab'a. That wild animal that would that could kill you really. Imam says, or the water you have isn't only enough for your or your companions' drinking needs, or the water available is the property of someone who wants to sell it for more than the market rate, or you have an illness or wound that, if it comes into contact with water, could be life-threatening. You must wait until the time the obligatory prayer arrives. Okay. Before moving into finding clean earth to do the tayammum, the dry ablution, I could not help but think about the people in Gaza not having access to water, deliberately a collective punishment. And it's only one of these many collective punishments. And there is no water. I mean, hardly there is water for drinking. We have seen on TV how some of them will have a bottle of water where there is dripping from a water pipe and collecting these drops of water. Say that someone uh, end up in a state of ritual impurity. Uh, these are so far 70 days or so. You don't waste that bottle of water that your family has on your ritual bath. Try to, the dry ablution um, uh, suffices you to do the dry ablution. Then Imam Ghazali says, then find clean earth on which there is time. Okay. Then find clean earth on which there is soft, pure dust. Strike your palms on it, both, keeping your fingers together next to each other, not spreading your fingers, with the intention of making the prayer lawful for you, and wipe your entire face with your hands once. You need not make the dust reach the roots of your facial hair, thick or thin. Of course, by facial hair, he means he talks about men. He talks about the beard. Then take off your ring and strike the earth a second time with your fingers spread out. Now wipe your arms, including the elbows, with your hands. It's the discussion about the elbows, and one might say the heels when we talk about the feet. It's technically you need to do the washing, or in this case the dry ablution, all the way until your elbow. But you need to include the elbow to ensure that you have reached that edge, if you will. You cannot locate. You are not going to measure and see that you are. You are not going to exceed that point, not even by 1 millimeter. So then you include the elbow. So now wipe your arms, including the elbows, with your hands. If you do not go over the whole area the first time, strike the earth one more time and wipe the arms until they have gone over the entire area. Next, wipe each of your palms with the other and wipe the spaces between your fingers. Now perform one obligatory prayer with this tayammum, with this dry ablution, along with any voluntary prayers you wish to perform after it. If you want to perform another obligatory prayer, you must make a new tayammum. So the time slot, so beginning with if I understand Imam Ghazali correctly, he says that once the time for a specific prayer begins, then you have that time slot. You can pray as much as you want within that time slot. Then again, you would repeat it for each obligatory prayer, unlike the wudu with that includes really water. Then it is, as long as your wudu is valid, then you can still pray. Typically in winter there is very very little time between one prayer and the other, and it's possible that you would pray. It's possible, I say, you might be able to pray noon, afternoon, evening, and night prayer. It might be possible, I say. The etiquette of setting out for the mosque. When you have finished your purification, pray the two sunnah rak'ahs, the two prostrations of Fajr, in your home if dawn has broken. This is what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ used to do. Then make your way to the mosque. The Prophet ﷺ used to do that. He used to pray the sunnah at home. Then he would go to the mosque. And the sunnah is that you don't make your home like a grave, in the sense of like there's no prayer beyond death. And if you don't pray at home, then your home is like a grave. I like the younger generation. They have a beautiful way of explaining this aspect, and I was in the company of such a young man at Al-Aqsa Mosque, and he spoke about the energy of all those prophets, and who left the energy in that beautiful, positive, spiritual energy in the place. I like that. So it's the same. It's the spiritual, the angels would see the light in the homes where the Quran is recited, where somebody is recited without the formal prayer, or recited during formal prayer. So there is such a, or that the believer would have such a light on his hair face. So there is something, and there is something beautiful. So when you have finished your purification, pray the two sunnah rak'ahs of Fajr in your home if dawn has broken. This is what the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do. And make your way to the mosque. Do not fail to pray with the congregation, especially the morning prayer. A prayer in congregation is 27 times better than a prayer alone. If you are negligent of such a profitable act, then what benefit is there for you in the pursuit of knowledge? After all, the fruit of knowledge is in acting upon it. Other than the 27, you might have a congregation at home, and a large congregation. You might. Okay. Then you would have missed the reward for walking to the mosque. Okay. You might ask the question: if I have a car and I use the car to go to the mosque, do I have ajr? Inshallah, yes, of course. You are putting effort to leave the house, and you are still striving, no matter what. So if you are negligent of such a profitable act, then what benefit is there for you in the pursuit of knowledge? After all, the fruit of knowledge is in acting upon it. When you walk to the mosque, walk with tranquility, and do not rush on your way. On your way, say, but before that, do not rush. We know very well how where the Imam, if it's one of the like if you talk about Fajr, you might know if the Imam is leading already the prayer, you would know whether he is done, let's say, with the recitation, of course, of the Fatiha, and say that the Imam is reciting one of those surahs, whether it's short or a bit longer, but you know the surah and you know that the Imam is about to finish the very last verse before ruku', before bowing down, and you are keen to catch up with the Imam before he raises up from the state of ruku'. If you are a few meters away, you will catch up, inshallah. If you are a bit further, you are still at the in the courtyard of the mosque, and you could only catch up if you run. If you don't, that's not the sunnah. That's not the sunnah. Just simply catch up whatever you can catch up with the Imam. Do not run. Do not really make noise. Do not. That's not the sunnah. That's not the etiquette. That's not the. Subhanallah. So on your way, say, "Oh my Lord, I beseech you." I beseech you by the right of those who beseech you, and the right of those who long for you, and the right of this walk of mine toward you. I have not left my home intending insolence, nor in arrogance, nor seeking to make a show of my actions, nor seeking prestige. Rather, I have come forth from my home in fear of your wrath and in search of your satisfaction. I ask you to save me from the fire, to let me enter paradise. And I ask that you forgive my sins, for truly there is none who forgives sins but you. فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. فاللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا عامة. Alhamdulillah, enough for today, inshallah. And tomorrow, بإذن الله عز وجل, we'll there's a longer entry about the long entry about staying in the mosque until sunrise. And Imam Al-Ghazali has a beautiful division of time between Fajr and sunrise. So the etiquette of staying in the mosque until sunrise, adab دخول المسجد إلى طلوع الشمس. tomorrow سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.